Have you ever felt that frustration? You keep falling off the wagon with your habits. You start out strong, full of energy, and then, well, life happens. You miss one day, then two, and before you know it, that habit is just gone. Here's the secret. The problem isn't your willpower. The problem is that you've built a ceiling for your success, but you've never built a floor for your failure. Today, we are going to fix that. We're diving into a protocol designed to eliminate 0 days for good. So let's start with these two core ideas, the ceiling and the floor. Now, we are all obsessed with the ceiling, right? That's our peak performance day, the 1-hour workout, the 1,000 words written, the 100% perfect effort. We think that's what defines success. But the floor, well, the floor is your baseline. It's what you can do on your absolute worst day. When you're sick, you're exhausted, and you have zero motivation. And here's the paradox that changes everything. The key to elite, long-term consistency isn't about having more heroic ceiling days. No way. It's about raising your floor so high that it becomes almost impossible to completely fail. Behavioral psychology is crystal clear on this. The secret to making a habit stick isn't about the intensity of your effort. It's about the raw consistency of showing up day after day without ever breaking the chain. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to expose the psychological trap that just derails our progress time and time again. Then, I'm going to give you a 3-part protocol to fix it for good. After that, we'll get into the actual neuroscience that proves why this works. Then I'll give you a practical guide to build your own system, and we'll land on the one master principle that ties this whole thing together. All right, let's start with the real enemy of progress, the all or nothing trap. This right here is the cycle of perfectionist burnout that so many of us get stuck in. It's like a productivity yo-yo that keeps us swinging between two destructive extremes. First, you're on. You are all in. You've set this big, ambitious goal. You're gonna hit the gym every day for an hour, you're gonna write 5 pages, meditate for 20 minutes, you feel motivated, you feel powerful, you are operating at your ceiling, and it feels incredible. And then, inevitably, you're off. Life gets messy, a deadline pops up, you get sick, you're just plain exhausted, you can't possibly meet that high standard you set for yourself. So what happens? You do nothing. You go from 100% straight to 0 with absolutely no middle ground. And this is where the real damage is done. Now, what's really fascinating about this is the psychological trigger. Scientists actually call it the what the heck effect. The very moment your brain realizes you can't hit that perfect goal, it just writes off the entire day as a loss, a 0. This triggers a massive drop in your self-efficacy. That's your belief in your ability to succeed. And it floods you with guilt, which only makes it harder to get back on track tomorrow. So listen, this is the most crucial takeaway. If you recognize that cycle, you are not lazy. You are not lacking willpower. The problem is not you, it's your system. You've engineered a system that's just too fragile to survive the chaos of real life. You've essentially built a beautiful house on a ceiling that requires perfect weather, and the moment a storm hits, the whole thing just collapses. We need to build a new foundation. So, how do we build that new foundation? We use the Momentum Floor Protocol. I want you to think of this as an engineering schematic for a truly resilient system, one that is designed so it simply can't fail. The protocol has 3 incredibly powerful layers, and they all focus on one thing: continuity, not the size of the win. We have the micro minimum, the 1-minute rule, and the continuity vow. Let's break them down. Okay, first up is the micro minimum. What you're gonna do is strip your habit down to its absolute atomic version, a version so tiny it feels almost ridiculous to even count it. You're not going to the gym, your floor is doing 1 single push-up. You're not writing a chapter, your floor is writing 1 single sentence. The whole point here is to make the starting line so easy it's impossible to say no. The second layer is the 1-minute rule. This is a non-negotiable mandate. Your momentum floor must be something you can complete in under 60 seconds. Why? Because this completely obliterates the excuse, "I don't have time." It makes the activation energy required to just start almost 0. It ensures that showing up is a biological possibility on any given day, no matter how chaotic things get. And this all leads to the final brilliant layer, the continuity vow. This is a complete mindset shift. You give yourself permission to do the absolute bare minimum and still call it a win. On those days you only do 1 push-up, you didn't fail. You succeeded in keeping the chain alive. See, this is the difference between quitting and just idling the engine. You are protecting the neural pathway of that habit, keeping it warm for when you have the energy to hit the gas again. Okay, so this might sound a little too simple to actually work. right? But the power of this protocol is rooted in the hard science of how our brains actually build habits. So let's look at the neurobiology of simply showing up. Every single time you complete your tiny momentum floor, your brain gives you a small pulse of dopamine. This is known as the winner effect. That little neurochemical reward signals that the mission was successful. More importantly, it reinforces the identity of being someone who follows through on their commitments. And trust me, building that identity is the single greatest predictor of long-term change. And what's more, because the task is so ridiculously small, it doesn't trigger your brain's threat detection center, the amygdala. You see, large, intimidating goals can often spark a fear response and create resistance. A 1-minute task, however, it flies completely under the radar. You are literally bypassing your brain's natural resistance to change. And finally, on a physical level, you are fundamentally rewiring your brain. Every time you perform the action, no matter how small, you strengthen the neural circuit for that behavior through a process called myelination. The best way to think of it is like paving a dirt path. The more you walk it, the more solid it becomes until it's an automatic superhighway. You're investing in the very structure of your future self. So, we've covered the why. Now let's get practical. Here's the actionable guide to building your very own momentum floor, and you can start this tonight. Your first step is to perform what I call a floor audit. Take your biggest goals. On one side, write down this ceiling version, the ideal outcome on a great day. Then, on the other side, define your floor, the stupid easy, under 60 seconds version you can do on your absolute worst day. If meditation for 20 minutes is your ceiling, your floor is taking one single mindful breath. If writing 1,000 words is your ceiling, your floor is writing just one sentence. Be ruthless here. Make it impossibly small. Once you have your floors defined, you lock in the system. First, the identity lock. On the days you only hit the floor, you must celebrate it. Don't apologize for it. You frame it as a victory for consistency. Second, use environment priming. Leave your yoga mat out. Put a notepad by your bed. Make the path of least resistance lead directly to your floor. And remember, the ultimate goal here isn't to be a hero every day. It's to become the person who never ever misses. And this all leads us to the master principle that underpins this entire system. It's the idea of prioritizing consistency over intensity. Let that one sink in for a second. Intensity is a luxury. It's what you do on your great days, when you feel motivated and energized. But consistency is a requirement. It is the non-negotiable baseline that guarantees progress over the long game. See, real productivity isn't about being a hero on your best days. It's about being a professional on your worst ones. So the crucial point is this. Your brain doesn't actually care how many miles you ran or how many words you wrote. It only cares about one thing. Did you keep the promise you made to yourself? Every single time you show up and complete your floor, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're proving to yourself that you are someone who follows through. The volume is irrelevant. Keeping the promise is everything. Look, you are in this for the long game. A small win is infinitely better than a big zero. True productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus and follow through feel effortless. And that entire journey starts with building a floor so low you can't help but make progress. So my question to you is this. What is the one habit you will build a momentum floor for right now, today? Master that floor, and the ceiling will eventually take care of itself.